Why is Black America so racist?
Question. Let's say a member of your identity group goes
Yeah.
somewhere he shouldn't, gets asked to leave, and instead of leaving, he pulls out a knife and stabs a teenager to death.
You know what the worst thing is? It wasn't even that. And the worst thing is how Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is just blown over and people have already forgotten about it and moved on. He wasn't asked to move once. He was asked to move 15 times. He was actually in the only place in the entire stadium where he wasn't supposed to be. There was infinite seats. The only occupational places were tents, and he decided to be in the wrong one and was asked to move 15 times and then goaded people into trying to remove him. That's what actually happened.
Do you A, denounce the crime, B, stay silent, or C, give him $500,000?
It wasn't even $500,000. It was $620,000. It's even worse. That's what's crazy, is somehow these already ridiculous things are actually even worse.
If you chose C, then congratulations. You might be a Black American.
Yeah!
There's been study after study trying to measure in-group preference among ethnic groups in the US. And consistently,
white people are consistently told that we are the most racist race. The crazy thing is, we are actually the most fair race. That's what is insane. We are the most fair. We are the least racist. Let me make it very clear. So right now, Asians and whites are S-tier classes. And what do you have to do to S-tier classes in video games? You need to nerf them. We can't do developer patch notes. So what we have to do is forced propaganda. And that's how we're attempting to nerf white people from being too OP, is by pushing so much false propaganda on them that the white people themselves psyop themselves into thinking that they're nerfed, and we reduce our power levels. Hopefully that makes sense.
the most racist group is Black Americans.
Depends which
least
Asians. Indians are not Asians. We're talking about East Asians, obviously.
Being white. Their exploits include, but are not limited to.
And by the way, you can disagree with me if you want, but what I consider to be S-tier classes amongst the race are the ones that integrate into the society the easiest and commit the least amount of crimes. I think that is a very fair metric. Whatever race does the least amount of crime and adds the most to whatever country that it is in, those are the OP races. Ones that are trying to move the human race forward and are less self-serving and integrate into society and make sure the status quo is maintained and we are bettering every aspect of Earth and not making it a shithole. That is what I think makes a race more OP.
Burning down entire...
So just white people? No, white people and Asians are very OP for integrating to society, making good generational moving forward technology, and, you know, just not committing crimes. They're very, very, very good at it.
cities because one of them got shot while attacking a policeman.
Per capita, obviously.
Or overdosed. Founding a nationwide cult to describe non-blacks as soulless and demonic.
Yep.
Taking an entire month to celebrate their history, mostly without knowing their history. Stealing other cultures' historical figures and beloved folktales.
Helen of Detroit is crazy. It's also hilarious because I see so many blacks saying, oh man, white people, they stole our hairstyle. You can't be doing cornrows and shit. Brother, Nords invented that. Vikings invented that. Y'all stole them from us, just like Michelle Obama took our white hair as well. Like, let's stop claiming hairstyles. We don't give a fuck how you do your hair, so don't fucking take ours. We both don't care. That being said, a white person with an afro, you're gonna look retarded.
Monuments of irrelevant, overweight black women everywhere, and lecturing others.
No, she ain't fat. She just big boned. She just big boned. She ain't fat. She just a little thick.
About how everyone else is racist by
there
default because of their skin color.
Yep.
Ironic.
True.
As well as being the only comparable identity in America to have more murder offenses than murder victims.
Jesus.
Which, for those of you who are mathematically challenged, means they are more likely to be perpetrators of interracial violence than the victims of it.
Jesus.
But why are they like that? In this video,
because we tell black people that they can. And that's what sucks. I feel awful for blacks because the environment in which they're raised tells them that they should be criminals, that they should commit crimes, that they should kill whites because of the horrible things white people did back to them, which, by the way, the horrible thing that we did to black people was free them from slavery. Yes, the vast majority of slaves sold to white people were sold to them by blacks. And by the way, even more so, in the transatlantic slave trade, less than 3% of slaves made it to the United States. They were traded to every other country first. We actually had some of the least numbers in the entire world, and we were the first to free them. And yet you were only taught about slavery in America. And you want to know why? That's because white people are fucking pussies. And in the pursuit of being the good guy, we're too civilized and we let every other race walk over us. And it's pathetic. Jesus.
I go over the main theories, and if you enjoy it, consider subscribing.
That is white people's biggest issue, is that we are fucking weak and we care way too much to look like the good guys. We are the good guys, but we care way too much about that image, and we won't lower ourselves to these other people's level. And we're going to have to at some point. We're going to have to fight fire with at some point, but it just takes so long for white people to activate. But once they are...
Theory 1. Historical grievances. This argues that the contentious
You know what? Fuck it. We're going to watch a video on why the Crusades were awesome after this.
history between whites and blacks, such as slavery or Jim Crow, is the reason for today's anti-white racism. However, racism usually follows simple cause and effect. A bad experience leads to prejudice. No one alive today in America was a slave, and no one was a slave owner. If historical reasons are the cause,
it's way crazier than that. 1865 is when slavery was kaput in the United States. No one alive today, not your parents, not your grandparents, not your great-grandparents, not your great-great-grandparents, not even your great-great-great-grandparents ever experienced slavery. Yet these motherfuckers talking like they just got off the boat. It's insane. Yet they're referencing shit from 160 years ago. It's like, bro, get a grip.
Of current racism, then that can only be possible if older generations are teaching younger generations to hold on to that grudge.
Yep.
And what's striking is that historical grievances usually fade over time.
Not this one.
Because it's illogical to blame people who weren't born yet for crimes neither you or anyone you know suffered. Yet black anti-white sentiment seems to worsen with each passing year.
Fucking insane.
Other groups, the Irish, Asians, Italians, also endured severe discrimination.
Yes, they did.
And moved.
Asians had it worse than blacks. That's what's crazy. And Asians integrated so quick.
On. That's why I'm confident this is mostly rationalization, not the root cause. Which brings me to theory 2. They're taught to hate. This one is more compelling. Education and media have pushed anti-white sentiment hard. In schools, slavery is often taught as a unique white crime, ignoring that slavery was universal across human history, that Africans enslaved and sold other Africans to Europeans, and that it was Europeans who led the
Minecraft Emerald is insane.
Global fight to abolish it.
Yep.
Media is even worse. Biased coverage fueled Black Lives Matter riots by portraying every cop as an immediate lethal threat to black people, despite data showing police shootings track crime involvement, not race. This narrative made black suspects more afraid, less compliant, and more likely to escalate. Movies, news, and activism reinforce the idea that America is irredeemably racist against blacks, despite it being largely a fiction. If you disagree, I offer you the following challenge. List a systemic disadvantage that black people have, but you can't just say an effect like black people go to prison more. You have to mention a current-day, unique legal discrimination that causes it.
You can't.
Theory 3.
Here's another thing. I see so many people talk about how they're going to go to Africa to be around their people. Bro, Africans hate black Americans too. They do. I think the safest, best place for black people is in America for them. But they don't realize that, so they want to be victims non-fucking stop. If they could just hold each other accountable and lock the fuck in, obviously the universal crime would go down. Right? Let's hear some good-ass music about like being a well-mannered person of society. Tell me a song made by a black artist that's like, yeah, we should like be good to each other. right? Like, barring Christianity, barring Christian music. Like, yeah, like, you know, I went and I could have robbed a white guy, but I didn't. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da shitting. You know, it's like, I saw a white guy doing some normal shit and I didn't kill him. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Ain't that super cool? You know, write some shit like that, but they're not, because it's not as catchy, right? It's like murder, murder, murder. Drugs, drugs, drugs. I fucking kill all white men because I'm a thug, right? It rolls off the tongue. I literally made a song about killing in 2 seconds. I can't even imagine writing one about being a good one, because it's way harder, and that's the problem. And that's why they use the N-word in all their fucking raps, because it's just easier to rhyme with.
Paid to hate. Put simply, being racist against white people is profitable. 2020's George Floyd riots caused billions in damages.
Yep.
And yet, corporate America donated hundreds of millions to the organizations behind it.
Yep.
Victimhood is used to justify programs such as DEI, affirmative action, and talks of reparations.
Yep.
Grifters on social media can make their livelihoods by simply lying about key social events to paint black people as victims and get hordes of racist support,
fucking insane,
causing a feedback loop of fury too. It also gives them cultural dominance.
Was Shakespeare a black woman is the craziest thumbnail I've ever seen,
since no one can criticize them without being labeled racist.
Yep.
The trick is
Dude, that's why I just gave up. If living reality makes me a racist, if believing in statistics makes me homophobic, transphobic, racist, I don't care at all.
Maintain the lie that black communities are eternally victimized in America.
Yep.
That way, the people supposedly oppressing them keep giving them money out of guilt.
Yep.
Which also explains why Black America has an envy problem in their own community, as successful blacks break that illusion.
Yes, they do.
Successful blacks, especially Nigerians who outperform other blacks dramatically, get called all manner of creative slurs. So if you want to know how to end black racism, just stop paying them to hate us.
Yep.
Of course, you'd also have to convince the self-flagellating white liberals, so good luck with that.
Good luck with that, bro. White people are their own biggest enemy. What a great video.